Welcome back to another podcast, guys. Welcome back to Timeless Tuesday. Today, I'm just going to be jumping straight into it. I'm going to hold this mic since I got no guest today, huh? No, it's not really for the best, but it is a change in scenery because we've had a couple guests for so far, and I've been absolutely loving it. I hope you guys have too. And so far, I think it's going really good. I missed last Tuesday because I just didn't have one. I just didn't have one to put out right now. So, just kind of moving on here. Forgive me for a second here. Okay, let's just jump straight into it. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you guys, we're going to be talking about creativity today. And honestly, first thing, I'm just going to start it out. And it's like, it's the highest level. It's the highest level of learning, creativity. Creating, something that matters. I've been talking to one of my good friends, Hunter, and lately it's just been like I've been stuck. I'm not like stuck in a rut, but it's very hard to find creativity and find something new for you to do. And what I mean by that is I can't seem to stick to something for a long time and do that. And I think that may be my fault. Maybe as a creator, maybe I need to find something that really will help me out. But for right now, it's just like I just need to find that something that gives me purpose. And I know that's like a really high thing to say, but I mean, to be honest, I really want it. All the stuff that I do, when I first started out vlogging, uh, I absolutely loved it. I loved being on YouTube. I loved uploading. I loved having a schedule. I was a daily vlogger for for a while actually, and then I kind of got out of the regime and stuff like that because I couldn't do it. I didn't have content, and the people at school that watch these and whoever watches these. I've gotten compliments before and stuff like that. Like, you're really good at what you do. However, you just do not have content. And I agree with that in a sort of way. Because it's just like I agree with that because oftentimes when I did those vlogs, I would go out and I'd be with Grant and I would just do something random, or I'd say, hey, like, let's go hang out and whatever. And that was great, but it got to a point where I was just kind of numb. Like, I didn't. In the very beginning, I was happy with what I was doing. I was happy that I was vlogging. I was happy that I was filming something. I was really, out in public is very hard. And so I don't even remember some of the vlogs that we used to do. But, yeah. So not going to go down that road. But I don't remember what kind of vlogs I would do. But it just wasn't something that mattered. And the biggest part of me right now is what I've been watching, what I've been doing is seeing people change the world in some aspect. And it is a big, I don't know, I don't want to say prophecy, but it is a big statement to say that you want to change the world. However, I think every single one of us can do that. And on this podcast, I named it Timeless for a reason, and it's just because the times that we live in need to be preserved, and they do. I know we have up and downs for Timeless, and or for the podcast, yeah. No, for times in the world, global warming, all this different stuff, it affects it, and I understand that. But to be honest, you as a person right now watching this are never gonna live in a well, I don't want to say that. I was going to say you never live in a better time, but that might not be true because we may be elevating towards something that is so higher among us. And what I mean by that is that we may be evolving so quickly. And let me just expand on that. We are one of the fastest generations right now growing. Technology-wise, economy-wise, anything like that, it is unbelievable. It's impeccable because we as like a human race right now, it's just going crazy. there were some of like these comics and shows about how the future would look. And let me tell you something. It's 2019. It's going to be 2020 here in a year. And in a couple or less than a year, whatever. And it's nothing like the Jetsons or whatever it was, where they had flying cars and floating cities. But I will tell you something. It seems to be like Elon Musk and people like him are really uh, making, I don't know, making waves, they're making a dent in the universe, pretty much. I mean, they're really doing something that's affecting us in a positive way, and I don't know the negatives. Because like I said on here on Timeless, we do not do research before we get into these, and so I just wanted to say that for the time being, like we're really as a generation and everything, we're moving so fast. And I think a lot of the times we need to slow down. And I don't mean that and like we're like technology is becoming too fast or whatever. I just mean like, lately I've been like, sorry, I'm gonna get personal. Lately I've been like reassuring myself, not reassuring. I've been just kind of rechecking myself out and really understanding like what I've done before. When I put out Superstar, that movie, um, The Life of Cody Winters with my friend Brennan, like that was just really fun. And it was a fun process to do. And then during the filming of it, maybe I'll do a podcast on that. But during the filming of it, it was stressful. It was really stressful, actually. There was a couple times that we almost scratched the everything. But I will tell you one thing. I mean, I know that you guys thanked me and stuff, but I mean, really, Brennan had a lot to do with that, and even Cole too. When they were out here filming that stuff, it was definitely a process, and I've never done it before. And so that being said, like Brennan, really pushed me, because in Superstar, I didn't plan for Chloe, my girlfriend, in the film to be my sister. Okay, so just wrap your heads around that for a second. I had a couple different people in mind, and they kind of just said no or we're busy, and that's totally fine. It's life, that happens. But to get back on track here, it just kind of it just stuff moves so fast, and I think we have to bring ourselves back to the appreciation. So with that movie, I kind of set it out and I was just like, like it was good. Like I was proud of myself that I got it out because it was a process editing, and it was very slow because I wasn't sure about how it looked and how it was. But in the very end of the process, I made a movie at 17 years old. 18 years. I put it out 18, but I was 17 when I made it. And that's incredible. You know, sure, there's room for improvement there, but that's incredible. You have to pat yourself on the back for those accomplishments that you make, because you can't go through life and I kind of realized this. It's just like not even life, just now, even at school or anything like that. The little things that you do every single day, they matter, you know? And it's hard sometimes for people to wrap your head around that, and it definitely is. I don't buy it, but or I do buy it. I don't know what I buy. I haven't bought a lot of stuff lately. um I've been working a lot, definitely been working a lot. And that's part of the reason that I couldn't get this podcast out. But it's all right. And so yeah, I think you just have to take time and let yourself appreciate what you do. Appreciate what you do, because sometimes it can be harder. And from what I understand, life is just going to get harder, in good way and bad way. I mean, there's different things, especially when you're 18 and you're moving on, you're going on. There's just tons of different things going on in your life. And I mean, when you get older, you're constantly trying to do something. And I think the biggest thing for me right now is to kind of wrap this all back. When I first started YouTube, I started doing it because Well, for one, I wanted to try it. I saw everybody else vlogging and doing the stuff, and I was like, why can't I do that? I think that happens oftentimes. And so I just put myself to the challenge, and I did it. And I was really proud of myself. And then I got more and more into it, and then I started making different videos and whatever, and I kind of saw what people liked and what people didn't like, and that was really fun because even though it was a small audience that I have compared to other people, it's my audience. And my audience is important to me because it's the people who listen to me. It's the people who actually listen to me, you know? And it's interesting because when you look at it compared to numbers like I used to, I mean, I used to look at my subscriber count and be like, oh, well, that's stupid. Even when it was like 75. It's at 75 for the longest time, and I think we're at 80 something now. But not even 100. But you got to think about that. That's 75 people or 80 some people that you're talking to when you post a video. Yeah, sure, not everybody that is a subscriber watches your videos, but oftentimes I get even more views than my subscribers. So you have to put that in perspective. I mean, think about the people who have millions of subscribers. Like, I know it sounds simple, but really in reality, like, I had to check myself. I had to literally check myself and not reassure, but I don't know. I had to check myself and tell myself that, like, that's 75 people. I mean, if you're in a classroom, if you go to school, like, most 25 people in your class, right? So that's 75 people watching or more. And oftentimes it's more if it's really good. And so if you think about millions and tens of millions of subscribers, wow. Wow, that's a lot of people. I mean, no wonder Logan Paul, go was in that mindset and of just go, 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 go. And I mean, granted, yes, he should have checked himself and sorry, I'm going to like an issue, but I'm just saying like Logan Paul because he has a lot of subscribers, he has a lot of influence, and I'm not saying what he did was okay because that's not. I mean, the Suicide Force thing is what I'm talking about, but I'm not saying it was okay. But I'm just saying he kind of reassured himself. And he was. I mean, he was literally just up so high because he could do no wrong. I mean, every single time that he posted a video. I mean, think about that. It's like 10 million people cheering you on for the stuff that you do. For the stuff that you do. And it's just crazy. So, yeah, so just take a minute, appreciate what you do. Every single day, because most likely it matters, not to get all heartfelt with you, but it does. And I've noticed that, it's getting to the end of my senior year and it went really fast, really, really fast. And there's some things I'm just so confused about. I'm just because when I was younger and still, but when I was younger, I did not like school at all. It was not really that fun. Once I moved out here, because I mean, you could imagine being new, moving someplace, going to school there, and for me, it was not an easy, I mean, it probably was easier to me, it's probably easier in the long run compared to some people, but for me, it was not an easy transition. And it wasn't that I was scared or whatever, but it was just more of the overwhelmingness of school and getting back into that and doing that stuff. Because we moved here during the summer. Actually, we moved here in August in 2010. I kind of had to take a break for a second, but let's go back to creativeness. So creativeness is a special thing. I was listening to music, lying on my bedroom floor, and I got up and decided to film a podcast. And my reason is creativeness. I just can't deal with the levels that, like I was saying before, I go through this rut, and it's the weirdest thing. But I don't know if I'm scared to talk about a certain topic or what it is, but sometimes it is so hard to make those decisions, turn the camera on, and create something. Um, and I just want to share that with you guys because I feel like you should know, and feel, and oftentimes like some of the creators on YouTube, like I've seen it. It's a pattern. Like if you ever look at really big YouTubers, they have a pattern of at least one of their videos says I am quitting YouTube. I'm not even joking. You could probably find at least 4. Like I know 4 off the top of my head. And yeah, some of them were jokes and whatever, but it still counts. And the reason is because they get to a point where they're stuck doing something that they don't want to do. They start filming something, it gains traction. And so it becomes popular. And so they start doing it more. And when that happens is I'll tell you what happens. When they first start YouTube, I'm not an expert, but when they first start YouTube, they're doing their thing, they're doing whatever. Normally it's because they just want to put something out there. It's just something to get out there, either of them or whatever, and that's me too. Like I just want to get out there. And what happens is you start off like that, and then one of your video hits something. And that's usually what sparks it. Or it may take a while, because it takes a while for some people. And so when that hits, okay, then they go into this thing where they start doing something that they don't like. And that's fine, right? You think that, right? Because you're loving the content that they're putting out. But it's not. Because they're not happy off screen. They'll sit down, they'll film a video, they'll do whatever they need to, but they're not happy. They're not. They're just not. And it's funny that us humans do that because we do something that we think is happy. We do something that think is going to make us happy, but in all reality, it doesn't. It's not that single thing. It's many things that built up to this and what makes it. So let me give you an example. Ryan Higa, okay? He started making YouTube videos with his friend Sean, and he just put them out there. Right? Then it gained traction. So then he did more and he actually liked what he was doing. Then he got even more subscribers and he was still doing what he was doing, what he wanted to do. And then as soon as he got more subscribers, that flow started going different. I still loved his videos. Never knew anything about it until like now, But I still loved his videos and he went through that cycle. And then as soon as he got the subscribers, sorry, I'm repeating myself, then he dropped down and started doing different things and he couldn't be himself. And that's the hardest thing to do. I'll tell you that. It's the hardest thing to not be yourself on camera. You want to know why? Because when you start YouTube, and I don't know about other people, but when you start YouTube and you look at that camera in the lens and you're talking to it, it's the hardest thing to not be yourself because sometimes it's the only thing that you can feel like it is yourself and you can be yourself. Sometimes it's the only environment for you. And that's very hard to stray away from. So when you stray away from that, oftentimes it can get dicey. And that's what happens with those YouTubers. And then they put out a video saying, I quit YouTube. And they go back to their old ways and the real fans stay and the fake ones go. And the only reason I'm telling you that is because it seems like a cycle. And I wanted to point it out because I'm not sure other people see it. So if that ever starts happening to me, you just give me a call and be like, hey, Cade, guess what, buddy? I'll be like, what? Like, hey, you're not doing it. I'm like, oh, come on. And then I won't believe you. And then I'll call you out. And then I'll actually understand that you're being serious. So that's what will happen. But in all realness, I mean, you can't tell me that being creative is hard. No, easy. You can't tell me that being creative is easy. It's actually one of the most hardest things to do. It's actually not the most hardest thing to do, but people make it the hardest thing to do. You want to know why? Because if you ever get a degree in fine arts, or any arts in that matter, it takes a long while. And if you're not good at what you do, if you're not good and you're not passionate about what you do, you're not going to make it. You're just not. And that may happen to me. Don't think so, though. But the reason I say that is because if you have to be so passionate and so persistent with your work that to the point where you're not even thinking about anything else. And I would love to do that for YouTube. I would love to do that for these podcasts. I would. And it is not easy because you have to sit down and you have to film your stuff while you're at school, while you're at work. Now, I mean, you don't film while you work, but you get what I'm saying? Like, those things happen. Real life happens. But it gets to a point where you have to stop and talk to yourself and say to yourself that this is what you want to accomplish, and you have to go for that. If you just don't go for that, it's never going to happen. And if you don't take the certain steps, those leaps of faith that you need to, then you're really just not going to go anywhere. And it sucks to say that. And I think also another thing about all of this is success. I mean, what is success? Because if you think about it, success to people mean different things. Our society has this definition of success, which means a lot of money, a lot of cars, a lot of, like, a really nice house, all this different stuff. But I'll tell you one thing. It also deals with happiness. And that goes into the YouTube thing too. If you're not happy with what you're doing, if you're not happy about how much figures you're making, if you're not happy with whatever, it's like there's no point. Another thing is the journey. So your journey, some people say that it's all about the journey and not the destination. And that is true. Sometimes, because you're taking the journey, and the journey is almost sometimes as fun. Think of it as a video game for people who play video games. Okay, when you start the game, you're going out, you're doing good, whatever, it gets harder, right? It gets harder. So does life. Okay, so just think about that little analogy, huh? And it gets harder throughout the game that you go through. And you're going all the way, you want to reach the end. You want to reach that end goal. And as soon as you do, you have that split second of happiness. But that that was weird, dude. That made a noise, and I was really scared. That split second of happiness actually turns into something that is called split second of happiness. I don't know. I was going to do some scientific term, but I don't know a scientific term. So that split second of happiness is going to be it. And then you reach the game, and then you have the end credits. And that end credit is your death. Why? Because it means that you're done playing the game. It means you have beat the game. You may feel good that you did it. You may feel good. But sometimes playing the game is actually more fun than beating the game. And in that sense, playing life is sometimes better than the destination that you're thinking of. And oftentimes you have to think about the destination that you want. I mean, for those of you right now that have an end goal, think about what that really is. Because it will matter. It will. You need to take the step back sometimes and realize what you have, what is disposable to you right now, and plan that execution of your destination, if you will. Because I'm telling you one thing right now is that I don't know where I'm going to be. No idea where I'm going to be. If you ask me that interview question, where are you going to be in 5 years? It can be really good and really bad. Because it's like, where are you going to be in 5 years? Well, I'd like to tell you where I'm going to be in 5 years. But if I don't see myself at that company, they're not going to like that answer. So, really, what do they want to hear? And I mean, that's just as different topic. But like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? It's a hard thing to ask. Why? Because you have to imagine and see so perfectly, so detailed. And if you're not detailed about what you want to see in those 5 years, of just whatever it is, a year, 2 years, doesn't matter. If you don't see that when you look in the mirror and you don't have visions and you don't have your imagination on that set goal, on that thing, it's like, here, I'll give you an example. You want a 2014 Ford, no, sorry, 2014, who wants 2004? You want a 2019 Ford F-150 blue. Okay, great. Or do you want a 2019 beautiful mint condition, beautiful tires? You have to be specific about it. You have to be so detailed. And if you're not. You're just not going to get to it. You're not going to have, it just won't work out, okay? That's the only thing I can say. All right, you just have to imagine where you want to be at. Hold on one second here. So just take a moment, see where you're at, respect yourself, respect the things that are around you. What I want you to take away with is creativity is one of the basic but very hard, and people don't understand this, highest level of education is creativeness. That's all I can say. And it also helps you long run. And just think about, sometimes, I'm sorry, I had to put out this podcast, and the reason is because it's a lot of my thoughts. And so if you didn't follow, sorry, that's what Timeless is for, though. If you didn't follow, I'm sorry, but I had to put this out because I need to vent. And I figured out that this helps me. If I explain everything to you, what I'm thinking in the moment, it helps me. So I might have more like this. It's just me. So don't worry about it. Please, if you're new, please press that subscribe button, because if you made it to this part of the podcast and you're new, then you're definitely going to like my other ones, because I actually have it more organized. So there's that. Share with your friends if you guys enjoyed. And share with your friends if he needs a little pick-me-up. This will amp him up. He'll understand. It's motivation, baby. And drop a like. Yeah, drop a like. I'll see you guys in the next one, okay? Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Feel free to drop a comment if you would like. Feel free to DM me. You know what I mean? Did I just blink? I think I just blinked. But all right, gonna end the podcast there. See you next Tuesday, baby. You just leave it. You just leave this up to me. I can show you my world. We can go through it all. You just leave it up.